Welcome to T-News 9 channel. Today, we're diving into the first chapter of the novel, Love is Reborn, titled, No One Tells Him to Take Out the Trash. Jack always imagined divorce would feel like pure freedom. Freedom to eat cold pizza from the box at midnight. Freedom to leave his socks wherever they landed, free from judgment. Freedom meant the TV remote was finally his and his alone. And for the first 3 days, it was glorious. He lived like a king in his own messy kingdom. But on the fourth day, reality knocked. It was Monday night, and Jack stood in the kitchen, wrestling with a trash bag that was overflowing, practically begging to be taken out. He waited. He listened. But there were no footsteps, no exasperated sigh, and no voice from the hallway saying those 10-year-old words. Jack, take out the trash. He used to hate hearing that. It always felt like a little jab, a reminder that he'd forgotten something again. But now, the silence was deafening, broken only by the judgmental hum of the refrigerator. He slumped onto the couch with his sad, cold slice of pizza. His dog, Max, padded over and just stared at him with those big knowing eyes. Then, Max went to the front door and sat down, waiting. Still waiting for Emily. You know she's not coming back, right? Jack mumbled to him. Max didn't budge. A laugh escaped Jack's lips, but it sounded hollow and wrong. He grabbed his phone. Emily's name was still there, untouched. No angry texts, no missed calls, just her name. He typed, "Are you okay?" Deleted it. Typed, "I miss you." Deleted that too. Finally, he typed, "I'm sorry." He just stared at the words, his thumb hovering over the send button before locking his phone and putting it away. Stepping outside into the cold night air, he finally tossed the trash into the bin. His reflection stared back from the metal lid, a tired, unshaven man, supposedly draped in freedom. And that's when the truth hit him like a punch to the gut. This wasn't freedom. It was just loneliness. No one replaces her, he whispered into the quiet street. Miles away, across the city, Emily was also making coffee for one. They were both doing fine, technically. They just weren't doing fine together. That's all for this chapter. Be sure to follow our channel for the next part of this incredible story.
Chapter 2 of the novel Love is Reborn, titled The House is Too Quiet. Jack woke up before his alarm, and the first thing he noticed was the silence. Usually, Emily's alarm would be the first sound of the day, followed by her hitting snooze twice, and then her familiar complaints about not having enough time. Jack would always tease her. But this morning, there was no alarm, no complaints, and no teasing. Just an unnerving, heavy silence. He sat up, listening, but heard nothing. This wasn't peace. It was emptiness. Getting out of bed, he walked to the kitchen and made coffee, following the exact routine Emily had taught him. Same mug, same amount of sugar, same motions. But it tasted all wrong. He stared into the cup and muttered to the empty room. You used to make this better. The coffee, of course, had no reply. To escape the quiet, Jack tried turning on some music, but the pauses between songs felt awkward and loud. He switched to the TV, but every channel seemed to mock him. Filled with couples, families, and people arguing about trivial things. Frustrated, he turned everything off. All right, he said to the air. I get it. Even his dog Max seemed to be feeling it. The dog walked past him, paused, and then sat right by the front door, waiting. Jack let out a dry laugh. You too. Max just kept his hopeful, almost disrespectful gaze fixed on the door. Jack tried to work from home, but concentration was impossible. Emily's side of the shared desk was a void. Her pen still sat in the cup where she'd left it. He picked it up, then quickly put it back down, as if it were hot to the touch. That's when a thought hit him, something deeply uncomfortable. The house wasn't quiet because Emily was gone. It was deafeningly loud because her presence was no longer there to fill the space. At noon, he went out just to buy groceries he didn't need. He just needed to be around noise, around people, around life. But when he returned, he noticed something that hurt even more than the silence. The house looked exactly the same as it always had. The furniture was in place, the pictures were on the wall, but it didn't feel like his home anymore. That night, Jack sat alone on the couch. Just to hear a human voice, he spoke out loud. "I didn't think it would feel like this." The house didn't answer. But in that profound quiet, Jack finally understood the truth. This wasn't peace. This was the start of truly missing her. To Chapter 3 of Love is Reborn, titled Dating Apps Lie. Jack downloaded a dating app. Not because he was ready, but because everyone told him he should be. His friends kept saying, "Get back out there," and "You need to meet new people." One even said, "Trust me, it works," despite still being single himself. So, Jack gave in. He chose a profile picture from 3 years ago, a time when he slept more and argued a lot less. The app promised a fresh start, a new beginning. With a sigh, Jack started swiping, and swiping, and swiping some more. Soon enough, his first date was set for a Thursday night. The woman he met was lovely. She was smart, witty, and honestly, way too attractive. She laughed at all of his jokes, even the really bad ones. And that's when the trouble started. Emily never laughed at the bad ones. Jack couldn't stop himself from comparing them. The way this new person held her coffee cup, the way she tilted her head when she listened, the sound of her laugh. Emily would have laughed louder, he thought. Emily would have teased him for that terrible joke. Halfway through their dinner, a mortifying realization hit Jack like a ton of bricks. He wasn't on a date. He was conducting an interview for a replacement. And let's be clear, no one was getting the job. When the evening ended, they shared a polite hug. The kind you give a coworker you know you'll never see again. Jack went home feeling even emptier than before. He opened the dating app, stared at the screen, and then closed it. A moment later, he deleted it completely. Lying in bed that night, staring at the blank ceiling, Jack finally admitted something he had been trying to avoid. This whole charade wasn't about moving on. It was about running away. And even in this race, Emily was still faster than him.
To Chapter 4 of the novel Love is Reborn, titled The Dog Picks a Side. After the breakup, Jack was determined to win at least one heart back, Max, their dog. He figured if Emily was gone, the dog's loyalty should be a sure thing. So, he marched into the pet store with a mission. He bought the works, a plush new bed, a squeaky toy that made a hilariously dramatic sound, and a bag of premium treats with ingredients so fancy, Jack couldn't even pronounce them. This should do it, he thought, feeling pretty confident. Back at home, he dramatically unveiled the new luxury bed in the living room. "Look, Max, your new throne." Max gave it a polite sniff, then completely ignored it. Undeterred, Jack rustled the bag of gourmet chicken-flavored treats. Max sniffed those too, but then trotted right over to the front door and sat down, just waiting. Jack couldn't believe it. "You've got to be kidding me." Max just wagged his tail, his eyes fixed on the door. Jack laughed, a little heartbroken. "Wow, 10 years together and you switch sides this fast?" But Max didn't budge. Defeated, Jack slumped onto the floor beside him. "I feed you. I walk you. I clean up after you," he pleaded, as if reasoning with the dog. Max just looked at him with an expression that seemed to say, "And your point is?" A heavy sigh escaped Jack. "You miss her too, huh?" In response, Max rested his head against the door. That simple gesture stung more than Jack expected. In that quiet moment, an uncomfortable truth hit him. Emily wasn't just his wife. She was the heart of their home. Without her, everything felt off balance, and even the dog could sense the void she left behind. That night, Jack's anger finally faded, replaced by a profound sense of loneliness. It was as if the silence in the house had taken her place. Love is Reborn, diving into Chapter 5, titled The First Honest Thought. That night, Jack lay wide awake, just staring at the ceiling. There was no phone, no TV, no distracting noise. There were only his thoughts. He found himself replaying the last few weeks in his mind. He remembered the arguments, the heavy silence that followed them, and the way he always assumed there would be more time. Time to say sorry. Time to really listen. Time to finally change. Jack used to believe that divorce had come out of nowhere, a sudden storm. But now, in the quiet of his room, he knew it didn't. It had happened slowly, building up with every ignored conversation, one small moment at a time. He sat up, the silence of the empty room feeling louder than ever. He whispered into the darkness, as if she could hear him, "I thought you'd always be here." Of course, the room didn't answer. It just held his words, making them feel even more real. Jack picked up his phone again. Emily's name was still right there at the top of the screen. He didn't type a single letter. He just looked at her name. And for the very first time since it all began, Jack didn't feel angry. He didn't feel the need to defend himself. He just felt honest. And then the thought came, crystal clear and incredibly painful. I didn't lose my wife. He swallowed hard, the weight of the realization pressing down on him. I lost the person who made my life work. That single truth hit him harder than the divorce papers ever could, because it meant something that Jack just wasn't ready to face. It meant that no matter how hard he tried, no matter who he met or what he did, no one was ever going to replace her. Thanks for listening to this chapter of Love is Reborn.